Danganronpa V3, the black sheep of the Danganronpa family, which is kind of funny because Ultra Despair Girls exist, but whatever. It's a very polarizing game. A lot of people like it, but a lot of people really don't like it, especially because of the ending. But I like it because of the themes that they have throughout it. What does it mean to be a leader? What does it mean to create harmony? The blurring line between truth and lies. And one thing I think is overlooked is what's going on in the backstage production. What is actually happening in the game? What is the lore behind Danganronpa V3? And a lot of people are overlooking this big fundamental theme. We're going to be getting into Kaito Momota, the truth about him, who he is, and we're going to solve all the lies that he's been telling not only Shuichi, not only the entire series, but you, the players, are being lied to by the game itself. Let's get into it right now. First and foremost, we're going to start with the fundamental fact. Kaito is a liar. It is so obvious that he lies all the time if you've played the game. Even though Shuichi blindly trusts and believes in him non-stop, that's just the game manipulating you as the player into believing that he's actually a trustworthy guy. He's not. In fact, he lies throughout the entire game. Right whenever Kaede meets him, he admits that he lied to get into the astronauts program. He uses somebody to forge papers. We're going to get to that one later on in this video as to what that means and who that person is, because we can solve it.
I had a friend who was pretty crafty, so I had him forge some stuff for me.
Jeez.
That's illegal. Yeah, I ended up getting caught. I was in pretty deep shit. That's why we like him. He's smiling about it. But the people up the top, they liked me and let me in anyway, because I aced the exams too. That's reckless. I doubt he aced the exams.
All of his free times are filled with lies. He fought the Pirate King. He discovered mole people and fought them. He also has a series of sidekicks, some of them ranging from Prime Minister to super baseball stars, and he takes credit for training all of them. His free times are filled with lies, and for some reason, Shuichi still trusts him as a confidant in the killing game itself, and believes in him. Shuichi trusts him throughout the main series of the games. In fact, there's a lot of times when he probably shouldn't. Whenever he's feeling sick the entire time, he's constantly lies about it, even though it's obvious that there's something wrong. For example, whenever he's scared of ghosts or whatever, he's not actually scared of ghosts. He's trying to hide the fact that he's not feeling good because he's coughing up blood. Everything's going wrong with him, even as early as this stage. Kaito hid the fact that he was dying for a pretty long time. And in fact, you could see all of these white lies that he sprinkles throughout. At one point, he says to Shuichi that no matter what, he'll believe in him. Well, that's not true. We see that in Chapter 4, whenever Gonta is about to be executed. Kaito throws Shuichi under the bus almost immediately. We can't necessarily trust him at his word at all. And even if he did tell us something that may be the truth, it doesn't mean he's not going to go back on it later. Kaito lies throughout the game, whether it be manipulating his resume as a sidekick holder, or whether he's making excuses for how sick he is. But there's other lies that we actually don't catch, and we're going to be going through some of them right here. Kaito makes some weird plays throughout the entire killing game. They're really ambitious. In Chapter 1, he is the one to fortify a bunch of people into the basement, keeping an eye on all of them as well to make sure none of them are going to kill each other. In fact, all of them are grouped up together. Everybody has an alibi, except for Shuichi and Kaede and Rentaro, which, weirdly enough, are the ones involved in the murder. It's kind of odd how everything played out that way, but that's a big play, and that was a really smart decision. In Chapter 2, he promotes Shuichi to his sidekick and hyper-focuses on him, giving him the confidence and the encouragement to be able to pursue the truth and find Kurumi as the killer. He was a necessary and pivotal part for Shuichi to be able to continue. Kaito befriends Maki in Chapter 3, bringing her into the fold with Shuichi and him, and they kind of become this trio throughout all the rest of the series. Kaito asks Maki to learn how to use the crossbow, put it together, and to be able to use it. After Chapter 4 and Gonta was executed, Kokichi, laughs about it, is jovial, makes fun of Gonta. Kokichi and Kaito get into a tussle. We find out that Kokichi may very well be the mastermind, and then he says about how much he loves the killing game, how much he aligns with Monokuma, and all these horrible things that's going on. Shows up with a bunch of weapons that come out of nowhere, which is pretty suspicious if you don't know the backstory behind it. But Kaito is 100% on board with Kokichi. It's kind of weird. It could be that he does have a time limit and he knows it, but there may be something else here with this. In fact, there's all sorts of weird things that go on between Kaito and Kokichi. For example, the bug meet and greet. Kaito evaded Gonta during the bug meet and greet, as well as several other students, to be fair. But one of which that was able to avoid it was Kokichi, who was able to gather all of the Monocups pads and be able to watch any and all of the video.
Sorry I ran into an unexpected snafu. But look. Cub pads. Gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Cub pads. Hey, I even got the cub pads belonging to people who aren't here. Now everyone can watch their Mota video. We said that we don't want to.
How exciting!
Well, it's late and I'm getting sleepy, so let's start already.
In Chapter 4, Kaito chases after Kokichi, who has a key card that is able to see the reality of the outside world. While Shuichi goes around and discovers the new areas, Kaito's missing, as well as Kokichi, up until the very end, the very last place you are, that Kaito shows up and says, well, let's go meet back at the dining room. He claims that he couldn't find Kokichi and couldn't keep up, but there should be some doubt in your head about this now. There's something else going on, the backstage production. What is lurking around the corner of Shuichi's eye? If Shuichi is the camera, what exactly is going on behind the scenes? And what is Kaito doing really? What if somebody is actually working behind the scenes with Kaito and in fact is using him as an agent against the killing game? Let's get into Chapter 5. The Chapter 5 trial is a pivotal moment in the story. Kaito or Kokichi, who's the real killer? Who's actually dead? It's a very intriguing trial altogether, and they present it very well with the Exisol, the voice changers, etc. Now, there's been some things that's been off with me about this one. Okay, the trial. There's a few things that don't make sense, the evidence that don't match what the story is trying to tell us. The three are Kaito's fresh jacket, the script, and Kaito's reaction while he's in the bathroom. Starting off with the last one, Kaito's state of mind doesn't make sense while he's inside the bathroom. Unlike the rest of the cast, he is not distraught. He's in fact pretty hunky-dory, pretty confident. He doesn't really care about the end of the world outside. Almost like he knows the truth. Very similar to another person that does know the truth. Another two, technically. You remember when I told you that both Kaito and Kokichi disappeared in Chapter 4 just a little bit ago? Yeah, that key card showed the reality of the outside world. And Kaito and Kokichi, I think both of them found it. And Kaito hid it from Shuichi. Now, why would Kokichi show Kaito all of this information if that was true? Well, it's because they've been working together all along. Let's continue on to the other things. The jacket. I know. Who cares about the jacket? Well, the jacket's actually really important because the jacket should be underneath a bloody Kokichi mess inside of the press. But here he is coming out of the exit hall with a fresh, brand new jacket. How does he get this jacket? Well, there's only three options, kinda. So option one is he went to get it after Kokichi's death from the Exisol. But that would make it obvious that Kaito was the survivor. So it wouldn't make sense for him to leave the Exisol or even use the Exisol to go get a jacket just for us to have a reveal at the end. Doesn't make sense, so probably not that one. Kokichi got spare clothes for Kaito. It's possible, but we're always led to believe that Kokichi did this against Kaito's will and was more or less just keeping him alive, locked up in the bathroom. Seems kind of benevolent for Kokichi to be able to do. Finally, we have Kaito. Kaito probably wasn't really imprisoned. Not in the way that we think. I think that he stayed in the Exisal garage willingly with Kokichi. Probably they did have a spare set of clothes, including spare jackets for Kaito, because he was sick and he had a cold. And of course you're going to get feverish if you're that sick. So it wouldn't surprise me that they did have extra jacket there. But could it be that Kaito wasn't actually in prison the whole time? Kokichi's script. Kokichi's script doesn't make much sense. I think that Kaito's completely lying about the script. There's nothing in it. First off, Shuichi doesn't even see the inside of it. The players don't get to review it at all. It's taken to the grave, basically, with Kaito. Kokichi wouldn't write a script because he knows about the Nano Cubs. If the Nano Cubs were to see that script, they would know that Kokichi is not in the Exisal. Monokuma would know, and it would be an easy slam dunk trial. And it wouldn't be so complicated. Kokichi's script could be written, especially if there was some sort of cipher to it, but that would need some decoding. How could Kaito read that? Maybe we'll get to how he could have later. Here's the truth behind the Chapter 5 trial. Kaito and Kokichi are working together from the beginning. Just before Kaito dies of his illness, or even after, Kokichi will manipulate his body, defile it if you will, to make it look like he was the cause of death. So who killed Kaito? Was it Kaito's illness or was it Kokichi? That's the dilemma Kokichi wants to present. It doesn't work out to anybody's favor from here on. Whenever Shuichi makes his move, goes to Kaito when he's in the bathroom, I like to think of like Kaito's on the John or something. I think that'd be kind of funny. And then here's Shuichi coming. He comes up, sees Shuichi. Shuichi's not in a devastated state. That means the mastermind made his move, as Kokichi predicted, based off of Kaito's testimony at the end of the chapter. Kaito assures Shuichi, leave, don't worry about a thing, just don't do anything risky, basically trying to bring down the level of Shuichi. Whenever Himiko shows up, he goes and gets the crossbow. Why was there this change of heart? Well, I think Kokichi told Kaito if somebody comes by again, get a crossbow. The reason? Because they need a new plan and quick. If they're acting now, we don't know when the illness will actually kill Kaito. If we don't know when the illness will kill Kaito, we need to come up with a new plan right away. And using the crossbow is our only option. They weren't expecting Maki to show up, shooting crossbow bolts with poison on them everywhere, hitting Kokichi. Kaito intervenes and stops Maki from killing Kokichi, because that's a pivotal part of the plan, is making sure they both are surviving so they could come up with a way to stop the killing game. Maki runs out to find an antidote. We only find out later after the trial, Kaito claims that it was to not make Maki a killer. Now, there could be some truth to that, but at the same time, it wouldn't make sense with the narrative of Kaito trying to kill what everyone perceives as the mastermind. The only way Kaito would want to intervene is if he almost knew that Kokichi wasn't the mastermind, even though he just shot him with the crossbow. From here, it doesn't make too much sense. After the door closes and Maki went to go get the antidote, the two should be fighting, thriving, trying to survive in some way, shape, or form, but instead, they both just end up at the bathroom, the only way in. And Maki shows up with the antidote. That's when Kokichi comes up with the new plan. He waits there. They aren't fighting. Patiently, Maki throws in the antidote, and Kokichi continues with the plan as we see it. After Kaito and Kokichi go through the plan, Kaito actually had a secret weapon. The original reason why Kokichi created this trial to begin with. Maki's poison. We actually don't know which killed Kokichi. the press or Maki's poison? That was going to be the trial dilemma. The only thing Kaito had to do at the end was say, what actually killed Kokichi? Was it Maki's poison, or was it the press? Kaito didn't do that. He didn't want to risk Maki's life. He didn't want to risk Shuichi's life. In fact, Shuichi giving in to Kaito's plan, going to do everything he can to help him, his belief in Kaito. That's what changed Kaito's mind. He said, I can't do this. And he got out. And he relinquished his life to save Shuichi and Maki and entrust that they will be the ones to stop the killing game. That's the truth behind the Chapter 5 trial. Kaito and Kokichi have been working together the entire time, including before the beginning of the game. We talked earlier about the script that could be deciphered. Well, Kaito could have deciphered it if he known Kokichi all along. Kaito and Kokichi have been working together the entire time. I know this is a lot of weird evidence that's going to go in, but hear me out here. Let's take a look at DICE for a moment, everyone. DICE is Kokichi's gang. Total of 10 underlings that works for him, doing petty crime, doing all these weird things. Okay, cool. But we only see 9 of them. There's only 9 that's actually on the picture. Where's the 10th one? And no, it's not counting Kokichi. It's very clear. Kokichi is in charge of 10 underlings. They say it. So where's the 10th DICE member? In Danganronpa, they have tropes in all of the games. For example, in Chapter 3 is a double kill. In Chapter 4, the big person dies. In Chapter 2, a murderer is revealed. This is consistent throughout all the games, but there's one thing that everybody's missing in this one, which would make sense. A pair of characters that know each other before the killing game happened. In Danganronpa 1, it was Makoto and Sayaka. In Danganronpa 2, it was Peko Peko and Kuzuryu. In this game, it's Kokichi and Kaito. Kaito is the 10th DICE member. All the things that Kaito does is a direct order of Kokichi throughout the entire time. Kaito is part of DICE. And this will change a few minds here, because this is a weird part. At the beginning of the killing game, the very first free time interactions, all of the characters are looking around, scanning out the area, and we see Kaito in a weird spot. He's in the hall inside of the school, and right next to a door. The door is checkered with black and white. That's the same aesthetics as DICE. Now, where does this door go to? It's not open now. It can't be opened. But later on, it opens up to a stairwell. The stairwell goes up to the Ultimate Astronaut's lab. It's weird how Kaito is right next to the door that goes straight to his research lab. It's almost like he knows that this right here is his door. Why is that? Because he's part of DICE. He sees the pattern. He recognizes it. And he says, this door means something. I can't open it. Kaede comes around the corner. I'm just looking around. Yeah. Kokichi and Kaito are friends. They put on a show for not only the killing game survivors, but also you, the player, as they run around behind the scenes, manipulating everyone. Kaito Mamota, Luminary of the Stars, lied to everyone, lied to Shuichi, lied to us. He was actually part of DICE all along, working with Kokichi behind the scenes. And he fooled all of us. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment down below your ideas about Kokichi and some of your favorite Danganronpa theories. I'm going to be reviewing all of them in another video. Thanks for hanging out with me, and YouTube land, be safe out there.